your solar plexus, your own personal identity, and what's going on around you at that point in time that's either stopping your personal identity come out, or were you trying to express yourself and something was holding you back. Probably a better example than a broken nose is when you get a cold or sinus. I always, like people say, oh, I've just got a cold, or everyone's got the cold. But some people don't get it. And I always think, okay, if that turns up for me, what's going on in my life right now? Have I just stepped out of my comfort zone? Do I need to step out of my comfort zone? I always look at it more holistically in terms of that chakra energy and everything that it represents. Yeah. Yeah?
How does this system or method help people with depression or dementia? Because they have no control over their mental thoughts. How can we help people of this kind of condition?
With depression and...
Dementia.
Dementia? Yeah, I can't answer it for dementia, but depression, like I would always say, for depression it depends what that person feels they need at the time. So if they need a specific therapist, absolutely need to go and see them. But at the same time, I think depression is a soul sickness. It means that person's lost their purpose and they're not sure of what's going on. That's my personal belief around depression. And there's such a high level of depression in the world right now, but popping pills and things like that is actually masking what's really going on. And it's through exploring the emotions that they're feeling, because depression just means that
Good evening, namaste. Thank you to each and everyone for being here tonight. So we're very pleased to be able to welcome
Hi everyone, my name is Valerie and I'm from Superlife Co. So my company, we create a series of products that are actually sustainable and we help consumers to lose weight and not gain it back. So let me go through a little bit of my background and how I started the company. So about 4 years ago, so that's myself in a picture. So I actually run a training company, a finance training company. And I worked about 16 hours a day. So with that number of hours, I actually suffer from constant burnt out. So I think at the 7th or 8th year, I actually had a really bad burnt out such that my friends and my family members actually urged me to go overseas for a break. And that's what I did. I went to the States. I recovered from superfoods. So one of the main things that I actually ate a lot was quinoa. And it's from this place called Protein Bar. And I remember the first time I ate it was like, wow, what's this? It's really tasty. So I googled quinoa and I was like, wow, it's really tasty and it's so nutritious. It's even more nutritious than brown rice. And when I came back to Singapore, I couldn't really find quinoa anywhere in Singapore. And even when I finally found it, it tasted weird. It was very bitter. So I started asking around and my friends say, oh, if you want nice quinoa like those from the States, they are generally from Peru. and I got some friends who bring it back for me. And then a lot of my friends noticed a change in me. I'm no longer like sickly. I used to look really pale and I always fall sick. And they asked me, what do you do and what do you eat? I was like, oh, I started eating superfood, and one of the main staple is actually quinoa. So I stopped eating rice. I only eat quinoa. So a lot of my friends are like, oh, you're so extreme. So then I cooked for them and they go like, whoa, this is tasty. And then they came to my house all the time like, Val, can you cook me quinoa? So after a while, I'm like, oh my god, this is way too much. So I put it into meal preps for them. So with ingredients and everything inside, and I told them, hey, take this bag, add into your rice cooker, just add 1.5 cups of water, press cook. If you don't know how to cook, then you're an idiot. And so everyone laughed, they took it back, and friends of friends of friends wanted it, and that's how it became a business. So because I'm a really busy person, and most importantly, I'm extremely lazy, so throughout in my mind, I was just like, oh, I need to make something really instant. So, and I was very stubborn, very, very stubborn. I'm like, I cannot have any MSG, no additives, no flavorings, no chemicals and stuff. So it took me about a year plus before I found a technique which only remove water and oxygen, and so that there's naturally no preservatives, and there's no additives and chemicals inside, and yet it's tasty. And that's how instant quinoa was born. So basically, after that, I also realized that when I started eating them, I became more and more lean. And my friend was just like, oh yeah, you're shrinking. And I was like, yeah. And then I looked into my diet and I googled them and realized, oh okay, because I eat a lot of cacao, I eat a lot of quinoa, they actually boost my metabolism rate naturally. And a lot of my friends who started eating them actually lost weight too. And what's more amazing is that they lose weight and they didn't gain it back. And that's how the whole tagline of we help you lose weight and not gain it back became the motto of the business. Right, so our vision of the company, we envision ourselves, right, to be the most sustainable solution for two things. One is weight loss, which we are at now, and eventually we intend to go into clear skin. So let me explain what's sustainability. So we have three definitions to our sustainability. The first definition is sustainable in terms of result, right? Like when you lose weight, you should not gain it back. When you have clear skin, you should not have bad skin again. So that is what meant by sustainability. The second sustainability is in terms of health. It should be good to your body such that you can do it for a long time. So if imagine it's processed food, for example, you can't eat it for a long time, it's not good for your health, then it's no longer sustainable. And the last sustainability, and the most important one, is it has to be affordable. If it's not affordable, it will never be sustainable. So this is what we envision ourselves to be moving forward. And our mission, of course, is to instill confidence in people. Of course, most of our clients are women, but men, there's a lot of guys who are jumping on board as well, so that they become confident, they become happy, and most importantly, healthy. Right, so so we pride ourselves to be an innovative company. We come out with a lot of innovative products. So people will stop by and ask, well, what's this? You just add hot water and you can eat quinoa, you no longer need to cook it, and stuff like that. So we also come up with a range of other products like freeze-dried fruits. We also have our line of beauty products coming up as well. So that's our future plan moving forward. We aim to solve the problem of unsustainability and also unnatural solution. It doesn't need to be just weight loss, actually in general anything, but we are focusing on weight loss at this point. Right, so we have a few channels. So generally we do B2C and B2B. B2C is through our website. So we have an e-commerce site, which is at superlife.co. And we also have a diet routine where people just need to look at 1 week, 4 weeks, or 12 weeks if you're lazy to think. So we bundle it up for you. So that's at hffp.superlife.co. So you can check us out on the website too. So let's go a little bit on the routine. HFFP. So what does that stand for? High in fiber, fat, and protein. So a lot of people are into diets such as even keto, paleo, vegan. So according to nutrition and dietitians, a lot of them actually told me that like keto is actually not very sustainable unless you are very, very sure what kind of fiber, what kind of everything you're putting in your body. So they always recommend 50% carbohydrates, and the carbohydrates are usually complex carbohydrates, so there's a little bit technical, which means you actually break down the sugar slowly, and they're high in fiber as well. So quinoa is a complex carbohydrate, for instance. It has to be high in good fats as well. So fats actually lower your GI, your glycemic index. And then also protein. So protein helps you to increase your metabolism rate and activate your inactive metabolic cells. So this is something that people come to us and ask me, so how does protein help me? So one of the main things is that as we aged, right, about 3 to 5% of our metabolic cells becomes inactive. So the key thing to sustainable lean body is the fact that you always increase your metabolism rate. Imagine going back to the time when you are like 16 or 18, you know, you eat a lot and you're still like burning off the fats. But I have a lot of clients who come to me and say, hey, well, you know what, I breathe air, I put on weight. I'm like, okay, that means your metabolism rate is low. So we actually help them to measure their metabolic age, and we get them to go on a HFFP diet routine. Within 1 month, you can actually see your age going down. So most of our clients goes down about 2 years after eating our diet for like 1 month. Right, so my metabolic age today, it's how many years? More than 10 years younger than my age itself, than my actual age. So I told people, oh, that's because consistently I've been eating this diet for like 4 years. But a lot of clients within months of on this diet, their metabolic age goes down. And so you can metabolic out a lot faster, can burn calories a lot faster as well. Right, so this is actually a very simple routine. It only contains morning, take cacao powder, lunchtime, take quinoa. That's it. Very, very simple. And we have this headline, life is too short to eat bad food or bland food. So our quinoa, as you can see from this picture, is actually a tom yum soup with quinoa, and it has received very good comment in terms of taste, because I strongly believe that if you want to eat something good, it has to be, again, sustainable, right? Which means it cannot be not tasty. So if it's not tasty, no one will eat it for a long time. Right, so I've already briefly explained that how it actually helps to burn fats. So cacao actually helps to burn your belly fats, and it's very high in fiber, so it helps in digestions and also helps in gut health. And quinoa itself also helps to, protein itself also helps to reduce hunger hormones. Particularly in quinoa, it comes in complete protein. So sorry, there's a lot of technical stuff here, but complete protein means it contains all 9 essential amino acids. So, which is not possible to be produced by our body. So it's important that you get enough complete protein, especially for vegetarian and vegan, because complete protein generally comes from meat and egg. Right, so these are some of the products that we have. So instant quinoa, we have the tom yum, spinach tofu, and shiitake mushroom. Meal preps, you actually just need to throw into a rice cooker, cook it within 15 minutes. We have mushroom, spicy curry, and Japanese seaweed. The new flavor that's coming up for our instant quinoa is actually salted egg yolk. Instead of soup, it's going to be dry, so you just need to put half the water and then it will dry up and then you can eat it. Right, so some of the success stories. So we do have quite a fair bit of success stories with our customers. One of them actually lost 20 kg, right, just by eating our quinoa, and he's now like the walking person that's always like, oh, it's sustainable, it's sustainable. He's telling everyone, even when we're doing booth at like Takashimaya, he's like, oh, you should eat quinoa because quinoa is great. It helps me lose my weight and it didn't gain back, and now I can eat fried chicken at night, things like that. So we do have quite a fair bit of firm believer in terms of that, and we believe that in order to do things well these days, it's important that we become very sustainable in the solution. And yeah, so you can go to our website superlife.co to find out more. So I'm Valerie, thank you, bye. Hi everyone, my name is Valerie and I'm from Superlife Co. So my company, we create a series of products that are actually sustainable and we help consumers to lose weight and not gain it back. So let me go through a little bit of my background and how I started the company. So about 4 years ago, so that's myself in a picture. So I actually run a training company, a finance training company. And I worked about 16 hours a day. So with that number of hours, I actually suffer from constant burnt out. So I think at the 7th or 8th year, I actually had a really bad burnt out such that my friends and my family members actually urged me to go overseas for a break. And that's what I did. I went to the States. I recovered from superfoods. So one of the main things that I actually ate a lot was quinoa. And it's from this place called Protein Bar. And I remember the first time I ate it was like, wow, what's this? It's really tasty. So I googled quinoa and I was like, wow, it's really tasty and it's so nutritious. It's even more nutritious than brown rice. And when I came back to Singapore, I couldn't really find quinoa anywhere in Singapore. And even when I finally found it, it tasted weird. It was very bitter. So I started asking around and my friends say, oh, if you want nice quinoa like those from the States, they are generally from Peru. And I got some friends who bring it back for me. And then a lot of my friends noticed a change in me. I'm no longer like sickly. I used to look really pale and I always fall sick. And they asked me, what do you do and what do you eat? I was like, oh, I started eating on superfood and one of the main staple is actually quinoa. So I stopped eating rice. I only eat quinoa. So a lot of my friends are like, oh, you're so extreme. So then I cooked for them and they go like, whoa, this is tasty. And then they came to my house all the time like, Val, can you cook me quinoa? So after a while, I'm like, oh my God, this is way too much. So I put it into meal preps for them. So with ingredients and everything inside. And I told them, hey, take this bag, add into your rice cooker, just add 1.5 cups of water, press cook. If you don't know how to cook, then you're an idiot. And so everyone laughed, they took it back. And friends of friends of friends wanted it. And that's how it became a business. So because I'm a really busy person and most importantly, I'm extremely lazy. So throughout in my mind, I was just like, oh, I need to make something really instant. So, and I was very stubborn, very, very stubborn. I'm like, I cannot have any MSG, no additives, no flavorings, no chemicals and stuff. So it took me about a year plus before I found a technique which only remove water and oxygen and so that there's naturally no preservatives and there's no additives and chemicals inside and yet it's tasty. And that's how instant quinoa was born. So basically after that, I also realized that when I started eating them, I became more and more lean. And my friend was just like, oh yeah, you're shrinking. And I was like, yeah. And then I looked into my diet and I googled them and realized, oh okay, because I eat a lot of cacao, I eat a lot of quinoa, they actually boost my metabolism rate naturally. And a lot of my friends who started eating them actually lost weight too. And what's more amazing is that they lose weight and they didn't gain it back. And that's how the whole tagline of we help you lose weight and not gain it back became the motto of the business. Right, so our vision of the company, we envision ourselves, right, to be the most sustainable solution for two things. One is weight loss, which we are at now, and eventually we intend to go into clear skin. So let me explain what's sustainability. So we have three definitions to our sustainability. The first definition is sustainable in terms of result, right? Like when you lose weight, you should not gain it back. When you have clear skin, you should not have bad skin again. So that is what we meant by sustainability. The second sustainability is in terms of health. It should be good to your body such that you can do it for a long time. So if imagine it's processed food, for example, you can't eat it for a long time, it's not good for your health, then it's no longer sustainable. And the last sustainability and the most important one is it has to be affordable. If it's not affordable, it will never be sustainable. So this is what we envision ourselves to be moving forward. And our mission, of course, is to instill confidence in people. Of course, most of our clients are women, but men, there's a lot of guys who are jumping on board as well, so that they become confident, they become happy, and most importantly, healthy. Right, so so we pride ourselves to be an innovative company. We come out with a lot of innovative products So people will stop by and ask, well, what's this? You just add hot water and you can eat quinoa, you no longer need to cook it and stuff like that. So we also come up with a range of other products like freeze-dried fruits. We also have our line of beauty products coming up as well. So that's our future plan moving forward. We aim to solve the problem of unsustainability and also unnatural solution. It doesn't need to be just weight loss. Actually, in general, anything. But we are focusing on weight loss at this point. Right. So we have a few channels. So generally, we do B2C and B2B. B2C is through our website. So we have an e-commerce site which is at superlife.co. And we also have a diet routine where people just need to look at 1 week, 4 weeks, or 12 weeks if you're lazy to think. So we bundle it up for you. So that's at hffp.superlife.co. So you can check us out on the website too. So let's go a little bit on the routine. HFFP. So what does that stand for? High in fiber, fat, and protein. So a lot of people are into diets such as even keto, paleo, vegan. So according to nutrition and dietitians, a lot of them actually told me that like keto is actually not very sustainable unless you are very, very sure what kind of fiber, what kind of everything you're putting in your body. So they always recommend 50% carbohydrates, and the carbohydrates are usually complex carbohydrates, so there's a little bit technical, which means you actually break down the sugar slowly, and they're high in fiber as well. So quinoa is a complex carbohydrate, for instance. It has to be high in good fats as well. So fats actually lower your GI, your glycemic index. And then also protein. So protein helps you to increase your metabolism rate and activate your inactive metabolic cells. So this is something that people come to us and ask me, so how does protein help me? So one of the main things is that as we age, right, about 3 to 5% of our metabolic cells becomes inactive. So the key thing to sustainable lean body is the fact that you always increase your metabolism rate. Imagine going back to the time when you are like 16 or 18, you eat a lot and you're still like burning off the fats. But I have a lot of clients who come to me and say, hey, well, you know what, I breathe air, I put on weight. I'm like, okay, that means your metabolism rate is low. So we actually help them to measure their metabolic age, and we get them to go on a HFFP diet routine. Within 1 month, you can actually see your age going down. So most of our clients goes down about 2 years after eating our diet for like 1 month. Right. So my metabolic age today, it's how many years? More than 10 years younger than my age itself, than my actual age. So I told people, oh, that's because consistently I've been eating this diet for like 4 years. But a lot of clients within months on this diet, their metabolic age goes down. And so you can metabolic out a lot faster, can burn calories a lot faster as well. Right, so this is actually a very simple routine. It only contains morning, take cacao powder, lunchtime, take quinoa. That's it. Very, very simple. And we have this headline, life is too short to eat bad food or bland food. So our quinoa, as you can see from this picture, is actually a tom yum soup with quinoa, and it has received very good comment in terms of taste, because I strongly believe that if you want to eat something good, it has to be, again, sustainable, right? Which means it cannot be not tasty. So if it's not tasty, no one will eat it for a long time. Right, so I've already briefly explained that how it actually helps to burn fats. So cacao actually helps to burn your belly fats, and it's very high in fiber, so it helps in digestions and also helps in gut health. And quinoa itself also helps to, protein itself also helps to reduce hunger hormones. Particularly in quinoa, it comes in complete protein. So sorry, there's a lot of technical stuff here, but complete protein means it contains all 9 essential amino acids. So, which is not possible to be produced by our body. So it's important that you get enough complete protein, especially for vegetarian and vegan, because complete protein generally comes from meat and egg. Right, so these are some of the products that we have. So instant quinoa, we have the tom yum, spinach tofu, and shiitake mushroom. Meal preps, you actually just need to throw into a rice cooker, cook it within 15 minutes. We have mushroom, spicy curry, and Japanese seaweed. The new flavor that is coming up for our instant quinoa is actually salted egg yolk. Instead of soup, it's going to be dry, so you just need to put half the water and then it will dry up and then you can eat it. Right, so some of the success stories. So we do have quite a fair bit of success stories with our customers. One of them actually lost 20 kg right, just by eating our quinoa. And he's not like the walking person that's always like, oh, it's sustainable, it's sustainable. He's telling everyone, even when we're doing booth at like Takashimaya, he's like, oh, you should eat quinoa because quinoa is great. It helps me lose my weight and it didn't gain back, and now I can eat fried chicken at night, things like that. So we do have quite a fair bit of firm believer in terms of that. And we believe that in order to do things well, these days it's important that we become very sustainable in the solution. And yeah, so you can go to our website, superlife.co, to find out more. So I'm Valerie, thank you. Bye.
Be yourself up on stage and sharing about what it is that you do and what you're passionate about. So my name is Melanie Midex. I live in Bali, Indonesia, but I've been there for about nearly 5 years, but originally from Australia. And I've trained as a psychosomatic therapist, I've been an entrepreneur, and part of being a psychosomatic therapist is also doing face reading. Face reading isn't a psychic modality though, so I can't tell you your future, I can't tell you if you're going to win the lottery next week or anything like that. What I can tell you is what you're really good at and what your zone of genius is by looking at your face, which we'll get into today. I also have another special guest with me this week as well, so Lisa, if you want to come and stand up. Lisa's here in Singapore with me. We're actually running a retreat this weekend together. Lisa is a specialist in meditation and mindfulness and is also an executive performance coach. So she'll be joining me today throughout the program that we've got for you to do some mindfulness and meditation.
Great, absolutely. So get prepared.
Perfect. So before we get started, let's see if I can work this out. I just want to let you know that whenever I present, I always call it more of a conscious conversation. It's not about me standing up here and just blurting out information to you. I really like interaction, and I ask at any point in time, if you have any questions, please ask. I'm going to be bringing out some new concepts that maybe you haven't heard about before, or talking about some things that you may have heard a little bit about but you want more information. Please at any time put up your hand and let's have a conversation about that. Conversations are talking, especially in an informal place, between two or more people in which ideas are exchanged, and I think we all learn from each other. It's not just about me sharing what I know, but you can also be sharing your information as well. Before we do that though too, I would also like you all to take your shoes off tonight, because we are not talking about business strategy. We're talking about how to feel connected and how to feel more yourself in the world. So if you want to take your shoes off and just get comfortable, feel your feet on the ground, don't be shy. You'll feel a lot better about it. Shoes, not shirt, shoes.
Shoes.
Take your shoes off. It does feel good, doesn't it? Okay, so as I said, I'm a psychosomatic therapist, a face reader, an entrepreneur, a speaker, and I teach chakra philosophy for business. So I started out my training as a psychosomatic therapist, and what that means is it's understanding the body and how it's connected to our mind and our emotions. So basically, I can read the body to understand what your emotional well-being is like, which is interesting. So a lot of the time we are operating from a space where there's, we're not really thinking, we're just going through the motions. We get more, we're calling it an urban brain this weekend, where it's like you're just sort of on automatic pilot, so to speak, and psychosomatic therapy really helps you to get more into your body, to really respond to the world through your human brain rather than a automatic robotic type of brain. So I'll be talking all about this today, and then later I might just get you to come back up again. Barefoot. If you want to just introduce yourself and what it is you do.
I'm a bit shorter now. I have been in the corporate world for a really long time, so I was head of sales for Australian companies and global companies as well. I moved from that into coaching, wellness coaching, corporate coaching, and then I studied meditation So I'm a certified meditation teacher, facilitator, and I work with a lot of corporate clients to teach them mindfulness. So my focus within meditation is to focus you on mindfulness, so you develop that self-awareness, and we're not in that flight and fight mode. We're not, as Melanie said, we're not overwhelmed by the day-to-day, and we can actually connect with who we are and what we're actually trying to achieve in life. So that's a quick summary, yeah? Awesome.
Okay. So let's talk about some big issues first. You know, we're living in this world at the moment where the world is really changing. You'll notice around on the news, you know, all sorts of things happening in the world, from environmental things, from stress and depression, talking about artificial intelligence and where technology is taking us, and our cities are getting bigger. There's a lot of things happening in the world that are causing us to think, hey, what's going on, and how can we help, and what can we do to serve to make it a better place? But in amongst that, you've got your own world that you need to look out for. So it's like we can get distracted and get overwhelmed by what's happening out there, but what we really need to do is to start looking at what's happening in the world within ourselves. And, you know, we have our own challenges, right? We've got challenges such as, you know, creating a successful business for yourself. You've got relationship challenges, whether it be with loved ones or friends or business partners. We've got to be really good at building relationships. Money is always a nice little stressor that can come up that we have to deal with. And also our health and well-being, so making sure that we're looking after ourselves. And, you know, all of these things can start to accumulate, and, you know, when that happens, we can really move into this stress and anxiety state. Now, as entrepreneurs, I think, you know, we're already stepping out of our comfort zone so much, and then we put all of these other everyday kind of stresses on the top, and it can become quite intense. So my whole point of this presentation for you today is for you to walk away with some other ideas of how you can sort of handle these situations as you're building your business, and from a different perspective. In 2017, the United Nations stated that stress and depression hit the top of the ladder for fatalities in the Western world above war and natural disasters. When I read that statistic, I was like, are you kidding me? Like, if you think back 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, was that the case? Like, you can see how much the world has changed, and it's really up to us to start taking responsibility for ourselves, for our well-being, and making sure that we're looking after how we're feeling, because that has a ripple effect into the outside world. And that's why I love psychosomatic therapy, because it looks at your body, it looks at your inner world and how you can balance that and get that to a really nice equilibrium state for you to be able to get out into the world and do what it is that you want to do. So I'm going to tell you a short story first, and then we'll get into the face reading part, I promise. So how this all came about. So I studied psychosomatic therapy in Australia, and I started my psychosomatic therapy business over there. So I was working in a clinic, and but what was happening was I was attracting a lot of more like anxiety and stress and depression type clients in a little room, which is why I left the 9 to 5. I kind of felt like I recreated that scenario in my own business. I was like, this isn't really what I wanted, because I love traveling, I love, you know, working with really motivated people. And I ended up moving to Bali because I heard there was a very big entrepreneurial community there. And it sounded great, and I learned a lot about online business. But at the same time, it wasn't easy. Like, I was struggling a lot as well. So this was my little first villa that I had of my own. It cost me 3 million rupiah a month, which sounds like a lot, but actually it's about $300, about 300 Singapore dollars a month. It was very simple. It was just a 1-bedroom with a bathroom. I had my bed, I had a desk, and I had this little chair out the front. And I'd been going through this fight or flight kind of scenario where I was having these like really big emotional breakdowns, like, why isn't my business working? What can I do? You know, I don't know how I'm going to pay my bills next week, all these sorts of things. And I was sitting on that chair, and I had my big emotional release, I had my big cry, and I was like, what do I know really well? Because I've been trying to do business, being taught by everyone else. What do I know really well? I know the chakra system. So I looked at my own chakra system. I was like, right, I'm doing all the right things to really vitalize my base chakra and all my other chakras. And then I thought, what about business? Does my business have a chakra system? And I started thinking about how business fits into the different chakras of the chakra system energies. And it totally made sense. So I'm going to be sharing that with you today. And ever since then, I can just see there really is no separation between you and your business. How you're feeling on the inside as you build your business will be reflected in how your business is going. And what I've managed to do is to line things up so you can see what part of your business you need to work at any time. Since then, things have changed. Oh yeah, my solution has been looking at your body, to really be paying attention to how you're feeling, paying attention to your zone of genius, but paying attention to what you're really good at and working with that, which is what we'll talk about today. Since then, this is now my new villa. So I've got a pool now, I've got a 2-story place. It's a much more comfortable place to live in. I've just been speaking at some conscious global summits and things. About 2 weeks ago, I did a training with Lululemon here in Singapore, helping their staff to move through change and transition within their own stores there. And then next year, I'm actually going to be talking on stage with Elizabeth Gilbert. So it's gone from, oh my God, what am I going to do, to this whole new world opening up, because I've really learned how to make sure I'm in alignment with what it is that I'm doing. So this is what can happen when you really start listening to yourself. So tonight we're going to talk about what your chakra system actually is. We're going to do face reading and finding out what your zone of genius is. Then we're going to talk about your business-based chakra, and at the end I've got a really special face split reveal that I want to share with you about too. So there's 4 things we're going to be doing. In between each one of those, I'm going to get Lisa to come up and we'll do a bit of mindfulness and meditation as well. And yeah, as I said, if you have any questions along the way, please put up your hand and ask. Can I ask first, who here knows about the chakra system? Who's heard about it? Yeah? Who doesn't know about the chakra system? Put your hand up. Okay, good. So we've got a nice mix of people in the room here. Sometimes it's good to have people that don't know anything, because it's a good refresher for those that do know something about it as well. But first, 2 minutes with Lisa.
2 minutes.
Oh,
Going to find me. Mindfulness is a bit of a buzzword these days as well. So, does anyone want to tell me what they think mindfulness is?
Consciousness.
Consciousness, yeah. Yeah. Being in the present moment. If you think about stress in your day-to-day life, where do you think it might be coming from? What's creating it in terms of your thoughts? Any guesses? Yeah, and most of our thoughts, believe it or not, are past or future. They're actually very rarely about the present moment. So if we're ruminating on the past, that can often put us in stress mode, because we're thinking, oh gosh, I was in this meeting the other day and I said this and I shouldn't have. Or I'm thinking about the future and what I'm trying to create and the bill that needs to be paid next week and the kids and the list. So this all creates stress. If we're actually truly in the present moment, there's very little stress in the present moment, because we just think about what we're doing right now. So it's only when we're thinking about the future and the past. So that's why mindfulness is so great in stress relief and getting rid of anxiety as well. I will also say though, in terms of stress, I want to make it very clear that there's a healthy level of stress. It gets us out of bed in the morning, gets things done. We need to get things done. But then there's an unhealthy level of stress as well. So I'll stop there. I'll elaborate on that a bit more a bit later. But if I can just get you all right now to close your eyes. Close your eyes. Take a really big deep breath and take it way down into the belly. Not the chest, belly. Each time you take that inhalation, feel your belly expand. And each time you exhale, just release. Releasing anything negative, releasing the to-do list. Just be really conscious of that breath as it enters past the nose, tip of the nose, the back of the throat, down past the lungs, and expanding the belly. And notice where it is for you that you connect with that breath. Maybe you feel it more on the tip of the nose. Coolness, the warmth. Could be in the belly, the back of the throat. It'll just be a place for you. When you connect with the breath, you can only ever be in the present moment. So it's a great tool to make sure when things are getting chaotic that we're connecting in with that breath. And each new breath is giving you new life. So it's providing oxygen to every cell in your body, every single cell. It's rejuvenating. And each exhalation takes out any old stagnant energy. Every breath is giving you new life. That will always connect you to the present moment. And when you're ready, you just gently open your eyes. Can you feel relaxed? Alright, I'll hand you back over.
Thank you, Lisa. Okay, so now we're feeling all nice and present in the room, present in your body, ready to learn, ready to ask questions. So, what is your chakra system and what are the mechanics around it? Where does it come from? Well, this is what we're going to follow through today. So we're going to find out where it comes from, how many energies they actually are in the chakra system, what they actually mean, and how does the chakra system work. A lot of the time I notice, there's a lot of healing modalities that talk about chakra energies. There's people that say they'll block your energies and balance your chakra energies. And then there's always this question, but what are you actually doing? So in this little piece, we're going to talk about what is actually happening within your chakra system. Because I really love to know how things work. I'm very spiritual and energetic, but I need to know the mechanics to make me feel better about it. So the chakra system came from India around 1500 to 500 BC. It actually is a part of Hindu, Jainism and Buddhism religions, but it isn't a religious tool. It's basically used as a more or less like a personal development tool where they teach people about life and how to walk through life. Yes, you can.
Sorry, back onto the science side of this. I looked at this quite a while ago, a few years ago, and I found a map of the adrenal system, and the chakra system matches perfectly with the adrenal system as well from a science perspective. So I thought that was really interesting information because it just kind of shows you that ancient wisdom already knew what was going on in the adrenals as well.
It is. I can see the chakra system in so many things around the place. And it's true, it plays out in your body so many different ways. So it's, the more you delve into it, the more you learn about it, the more you'll see it all over the place. Thank you, Lisa. So yeah, it's been around for a really long time. And this is why I was so curious about it as a child, because I actually knew about it as I was growing up, but I didn't have anyone I felt I could ask about it because I was in Australia. My family isn't part of any of those religions. Not that that would be a problem, but I just didn't know the right questions or the right people to ask. But there was something that played in my mind is if something has been around for such a long time, surely there's something to it. And so that's what really got me exploring this more later on in life. So there are actually more than 7 chakra energies. There's plenty of chakra energies that you have, energy centers. But the main chakra energies you have are 7. And there's 7 chakra energies that run up the base of your spine. And each one relates to a different emotion that you feel. It relates to a different area of your body. It relates to a different area of your life. And they all vibrate in different ways. And so what you're trying to do with your chakra system is to get all of those chakra energies performing at its ultimate vibration, and that's when you're actually going to experience flow in your life. If they're not vibrating at those really optimal levels, what happens is that's when we start coming up against little hurdles, like this isn't working, and why isn't this happening, and you know, those sorts of things, which we experience every day. But there's times where everything feels like it falls into place, and then there's times where everything feels like it's just really hard work. And so this is why you can use your chakra system to see and help you navigate where you need to go within your life and within your business as well. For each of these chakras, I've put up here, so your base chakra, these are the names of the chakras. Sorry, I'm getting all confused with my little clicker there. So your base chakra sits at the base of your spine, and we're going to be talking about this quite a lot today. And this one is actually related to your family and community. So it's the first chakra that's developed from the age of 0 to 7. And it's how you feel supported. So how you feel supported within yourself and how you feel supported by the community and people around you. So for example, in this room right now, you've got a lot of like-minded people who are your friends, who are your colleagues, and you're all supporting each other. So there's a really big, strong base chakra energy in this room right now. And we need that to feel supported for the rest of our chakra energies to operate at their ultimate vibration. The next chakra is your sacral chakra, and this sits around your hips area and your reproductive area. And this is related to your relationships, your well-being, your abundance, your creativity, and your sensuality. The base chakra is all about your relationship with community. Your sacral chakra is your relationships with one other. So that could be a lover, a partner, it could be a friendship, it could be a business relationship. So this is where we learn how to really communicate and connect with one other person. Your solar plexus chakra is the next one up, and this sits just around your diaphragm area, just above your belly button. It's actually the pump that pumps the energy through your body. So when we were doing that breathing exercise just now, the meditative exercise, it's like that, it's getting your diaphragm moving so it can pump the energy through your chakra system. Now the solar plexus is all about your personal identity. It's about your personal power and how you come and step out into the world. So when you're standing on stage, you don't want to be talking like this and all like this, because then it's really hard to understand and you might get a bit tired. You want to be like talking like this and standing up and getting people taking notice. This is igniting your solar plexus energy, which is where you've got your courage and your charisma and your own personal identity coming out into the world. The next chakra is the heart chakra. And this sits around your heart center, and it's all about, for me, it's the lens that you see of the world. It's how you look at the world. Are you looking in through a lens of compassion, or are you looking at one where the world's out to get you? So it's really learning to live with compassion. These lower three chakras here are much more earthier and have a lot more connection with real life kind of, not issues, real life areas that you deal with in every day. Whereas these top three chakras that I'm about to talk about, they're more etheric, so they're more the spiritual, intuitive type of energy about it. So we're going to spend a lot of time in these more earthy chakras today, but as you move up it gets a little bit more etheric. Your throat chakra is all about speaking your truth. And it doesn't need to be necessarily speaking your truth, it's communicating your truth and knowing what that truth is. So, you might think one thing, but you might be saying another, and that's when you know your throat chakra can be out of balance. Your brow chakra, which a lot of people know about, it can also be called your third eye, is connected to your intuition. So really learning how to tap into your intuition, and to me this is really the centre of leadership. It's where you're going to understand what's right and what's wrong for you, and to be able to make decisions, even if the world is saying to you, that doesn't sound right, I don't think you should do it that way, but there's something inside of you that's like, no, I'm going to go for this, I'm going to do it. That's when you know you're tapping into your intuition and leading through that space as well. And then we've got the crown chakra at the top, which is your universal connection. So to me, this is where we get our vision, our purpose, those insights of what it is that we're really here to do. So all of you in this room, you're obviously all in business, so there's something here that you're really wanting to achieve in the world. So remembering to tap back into that, and it's like, how am I going to get that done? So that's a basic overview of the chakra system. Does anyone have any questions at all around that? Yeah.
Is it something physical? This point?
Is it something physical?
Or
They are physical. Yes, I'm about to show you how those energies all play out actually. So this might answer your question. So each of those chakra energies runs up the back of your spine. Okay, but then this is how it works. Okay, so basically you've got the tip. There's a tip that sits in the center of your spine for each one of those chakra energies. And at that tip, I call that, that's your key of destiny. So it's like where all the information of what your true purpose is lies within that tip. And then as the chakra energy comes out, you've got this cone area here. And in that cone area is where all your emotions sit, it's where your mindset patterns sit. It's basically everything that you've learnt and you've experienced in life is held within this cone area. And then at the filter, this is where you've got where it bumps up against other people's chakra energies too. So you know when you walk into a room and you walk in and you're like, oh, it's a good vibe in here, like, you know, I'm feeling good, you know, it's because everybody's chakra energies will be sort of like-minded, so to speak. And then sometimes you can walk into a room and it's like, oh, what's going on in here? Or you've felt, you know, someone's had an argument and then all of a sudden there's, you know, some sort of funny energy happening. It's your energies aren't matching what's in the room, or they're feeling off, they're not feeling connected. So this is how come you're already feeling the energies even though you may not know what's actually going on. Does that make sense for you? A little bit? So you can't, it's not that some people can see chakra energies, but when you know how the energies are filtered, so there's like 7 coming up your spine, and then the cone of the energy comes out. So there's one coming out in front of you and one coming out behind you as well. And so when I walk into a room and then someone else walks into the room, those energies are actually touching each other outside of your body. So it's not like a physical thing that happens, it's more of an energetic thing that happens. And then that's why it's important to surround yourself by people who are supportive and are like-minded and even 2 steps ahead of perhaps where you want to be, because you want your energies to line up to that sort of, that space. Does that make more sense for you?
so that kind of sensation, there is some kind of sensation you're feeling by feeling.
Yes. Through your emotions, through basically what happens in your world around you as well. Yeah, because our outside world is a reflection of what's going on the inside. So even if something happens to you outside of you and you're like, what's that all about? You know, something didn't go right, there might be something that needs to be looked at inside of you to shift that, then the outside world will replicate that.
Some people can actually feel like different sensations in those areas, can't
Yeah.
I always do. I meditate and I do feel those sensations and sometimes the 3 nadis like Hira, Pira and Sushma. I mean, of course you know that. So when I'm at very when I'm at the camps, meditational camps with my guru, I do feel that I'm shaking here and there, and something is just making me move forward and backward, and I feel the energy going, circulating, and yes, the sensations are real. I mean, yeah.
Yes, and I think because there is that where you can feel the sensation when you're meditating, and then in everyday life it can be a little bit different because you're moving, so you may not feel the sense. It depends how sensitive you are and how much work you do to tune into it, basically. But when you're starting out, it can be through just understanding, and I'll talk more about it, like how you're feeling physically, what's happening in your outside world, and then you'll start to know if it's out or if it's in tune, basically. Yeah. Thank you. Any more questions around this? Okay, so now let's get to the face reading part of this. So basically, face reading is part of psychosomatic therapy, and psychosomatic therapy uses the chakra system through all of its work. So basically every part of your body relates to a different area, a different chakra energy, which relates to a different area of your life. And your face is actually a summary of your whole body. And so that's why the face can be such a good place to start, because we're getting a summary of what's going on below. So I'm going to go through how face reading actually works and what all the features of your face relate to. Then we're going to have a look at your Prime Minister and just have a little bit of a face reading play with that. And then we're going to do some face reading with each other. So we're going to be looking at each other's chin. So you're going to be doing some face reading for each other. And then we're going to be talking a bit about your zone of genius when it comes to face reading. So, how does it work? So basically, as I said when we went through the chakra system before, each chakra energy has a different area of life that it relates to. And so that relates to a different feature on your face. So your chin is related to your base chakra, and this is all about how you feel supported in life. So we're looking at the shapes of your features that will tell the differences share more about your personality in different types of way. So I won't share too much about that right now, because we'll do that a bit later. But your mouth is related to your sacral chakra, so it's all about the taste you have for life, how much pleasure that you have in your life, how you like to communicate and express yourself as well. Your nose is all about your personal identity and how you like to step out into the world, because look, your nose actually steps out from your face, so it's the thing that's coming out. So when we look at the nose, it's all about your own personal identity. When we look at your eyes, this is related to your heart chakra. So your eyes are the connector to your soul. So when our eyes meet, our souls are connecting, and the window to your soul, sorry. So how your eyes are shaped, the colour, all sorts of things will indicate what your heart essence is like. Then when we move up to your eyebrows here, they're all related to your throat chakra, so how you communicate. It's the feature of your face that differentiates between your head and your heart. So depending on how thick they are, how defined they are, what shape they are, will say a lot about how you're communicating to the outside world, but also how you're communicating within your own inner world as well. Then we've got the brow chakra here, which is about intuition. So I'm looking at how high the forehead is here as to how easily and quickly you can tune into your intuition. And the crown chakra is at the top, so we're looking at the hairline here. So in a face reading session, they usually go for 60 minutes, so I'm not going to go through the whole thing, and that's why I'm running a workshop on the weekend on it as well. But it can be really interesting to know that your body is such a reflection of your inner world. So how you feel about yourself, your inner critic, how you feel you're going to succeed, all of these things are going to be represented in your face. And we'll also be talking about your zone of genius, because sometimes there might be features on your face you're like, I'm not really too keen on that one. Like, I know for me, I never used to like my nose until I learnt about it, and I was like, oh, I can see what the strength is of the shape of my face, and now I'm going to step into it and embrace it a lot more. So, you know, your nose is all about your leadership, and I always find it is one of those things that a lot of people aren't very fond of, if they're to pick something on their face. But, you know, when you can really love who you are and love what you see when you look at yourself in the mirror, everything will start shifting in your world and in your business at the same time when you really embrace those characteristics. Shall we look at your Prime Minister?
Yeah.
Now, I don't know, I'm not a very political person, so I don't really know anything about what your Prime Minister's been up to, so I'm just saying that from the start. And I'm not going to say too much either, because I just want to be a bit careful, but I want to ask you guys first, when you look at this man's face, how does that make you feel? Pardon? What is his, if you were to think about his personality, what do you think his strengths are? Nice nose? Organised? Sorry? Assertive? Cunning? Yeah, he's a politician, exactly. So, and this is exactly why I picked a politician as well. So when we look at, there's a few things, when I looked at this photo, I was like, oh yeah, I can see this. Generally speaking with politicians, they will have fairly, like, I know he's smiling in this, and I think it looks a little bit different when he's actually natural. But one thing that really stood out for me is that his bottom lip is quite big and his top lip is a lot thinner. So the top lip is about creativity and sensuality, and the bottom lip is our communication lip. And when I saw this, I was like, okay, he's a bit of a communicator, and if someone sort of triggers him or pushes his buttons, he's going to bite back. Like he's going to have something to say. So I don't know if that's true or not, because I really don't know him. But like, you know, if he has something to say, he'll say it basically. Also, here at the same time, he's got quite an oval-shaped face too. So he is actually very humanitarian. So again, I don't know what his actions have been like or anything like this, but he's definitely got a humanitarian aspect to him, and he does care about people. But he may need to work on his communication just a little bit around that as well. With his nose here, he's got a very long nose, and it's quite broad as well. So the broadness of the nose also indicates how supported someone can feel in their leadership. So he has a good sense of support within himself to lead. And the long nose means that he also takes on responsibility. He's more inclined to take on responsibility and easily take on those kind of roles. His eyes here are his heart chakra. He's got nice eyes, got brown eyes, so he's very earthy, but they're very small, and so it takes a lot for somebody to get into his heart. He'll keep it kind of locked off a little bit, which when you think about politics is probably a good thing, because you know there need to be some separation that's happening around in that space as well. His eyebrows, he's a good teacher. He's got, you know, they're a bit bushy. They could be more defined. Sometimes his communication can be a little bit misinterpreted by the outside world, and I feel like he might say things to please other people rather than what's really going on inside for him. So he's always like thinking of the outside world more than really saying how he's feeling about things, which it can be okay, but it just depends how that's kind of playing out for him. He's got a very long face here as well, so he's got very high ideals of how he'd like to live his life. He's probably got quite high expectations on himself as well, and so, you know, again, that also helps with that leadership. Particularly entrepreneurs, I find that happens a lot as well, like there's this high expectation of what you want life to be, because there's kind of like a vision that you have for yourself and those around you too. So I'm not sure if that is a good description of him or not. I really don't know. But I just wanted to use that as an example of how face reading kind of works and what we look at in the face when it comes to personality traits. Because if you can find the trait and understand what that is and really work with it, then all sorts of things can sort of unfold for you, especially in business. So, how about... Oh, is there any feedback on that, by the way? Was I kind of right?
No, nothing about whether you're right on him or not. I don't know him personally. But just wondering, how is this related to psychosomatic?
Yeah, so basically with psychosomatics, your body is a reflection of your inner well-being. So if you think about, we're all vibrating, like we've all got like molecules inside us. We all start from those molecules, and those molecules are vibrating to form matter. And basically, how we're feeling emotionally affects that vibration and that matter. And so the result of that is the body that we're standing in today. Does that kind of make sense to you?
It's more like because of how we feel, it manifests on our face.
Yes.
So it could like from young, from birth, our face start to change based on how we feel.
Yes, exactly. Right. And our bone structure is ancestry, so that comes from our family. So that's why there will be sometimes some traits that are passed on from generation to generation through the bone structure. But our muscle and our tissue changes all the time. And it's why sometimes you can look in front of the mirror and, you know, you'll be like, oh, I'm feeling really great. And then something might not be going great, and it's like, oh, I can see that. You can physically see it. And so by really paying attention to how your body's feeling and how you're feeling, it's bringing your awareness back to, oh, is this actually working out for me, or do I need to make some shifts? And you'll see that more later on in the presentation as well. Basically, to me, psychosomatic therapy is using your body as a compass. So really tuning into how you're feeling at any given time. And also, if there's any pain and injuries that are happening in your body, it will be indicating you to look at something closer, basically.
So just, I'm not sure whether I'm jumping the gun, but say we have some sensation on the face. Is there a way, like, should we massage our face, tap onto our face, or what do we do about it?
Yeah.
You know?
It depends. I mean, it depends what it is, obviously. And it depends where it is on the face. So say you've got, for example, you broke your nose or something. To me, I would be thinking that is to look at part of your solar plexus, your own personal identity, and what's going on around you at that point in time that's either stopping your personal identity come out, or were you trying to express yourself and something was holding you back. Probably a better example than a broken nose is when you get a cold or sinus. I always, like people say, oh, I've just got a cold, or everyone's got the cold. But some people don't get it. And I always think, okay, if that turns up for me, what's going on in my life right now? Have I just stepped out of my comfort zone? Do I need to step out of my comfort zone? I always look at it more holistically in terms of that chakra energy and everything that it represents. Yeah. Yeah.
How does this system or method help people with depression or dementia, because they have no control over their mental thoughts? How can we help people of this kind of conditions?
With depression and
dementia.
Dementia?
Elderly,
Yeah, I can't answer it for dementia, but depression, like I would always say, for depression, it depends what that person feels they need at the time. So if they need a specific therapist, absolutely need to go and see them. But at the same time, I think depression is a soul sickness. It means that person's lost their purpose and they're not sure of what's going on. That's my personal belief around depression. And there's such a high level of depression in the world right now, but popping pills and things like that is actually masking what's really going on. And it's through exploring the emotions that they're feeling, because depression just means that it's like you're not feeling anything, you're numbed out, basically. You're not able to really understand if you're feeling excited, if you're feeling unhappy, if you're feeling judged, or like being really specific with what those feelings are. And how I feel psychosomatic therapy helps is it starts you to understand the exact emotion that you're feeling. So you're not just feeling good or feeling bad, it's like what exactly are you feeling at any given time? Because by identifying that emotional state, then you know what to look at next. Yeah.
I'm talking about the patient, the people you want to help. You won't know their state of mind.
Say that again,
The
sorry.
person who is suffering from dementia or maybe depression, we won't be able to know their state of mind. So where do we start to help them?
Yeah, dementia, I can't. That's not my client, so I wouldn't be working with them. Depression, it's up to it's part of it is self-responsibility as well, and it depends on the level of depression that someone's feeling. Because there are extreme cases of depression where they need medication, but for the states where it's like I'm feeling depressed, like I've had moments where I'm feeling depressed. Even as an entrepreneur, you can become isolated and feel lonely. And then that can spiral you down, but then it's like, why am I really feeling this? Like, it's allowing yourself to dig deeper. So I do feel like there's a level of self-responsibility to explore and to find out all of these different modalities and how they can help. Yeah. Okay, so we're about to do some face reading on each other and look at each other's chins. So we're going to look at the shape of the chin, but before we do that, I do want to just talk about the base chakra and the qualities. I'll go back to that. Did you guys want to take a photo? There you go. These cameras are up. You can take a photo. So before we go into what the shape of a chin means and how that relates to your personality and in business, firstly, it relates to your base chakra. So I want to talk about the base chakra a little bit. Oops. So just so I'm not talking all the time, for those in the room that know about the chakra system, can you share with the room what you know about the base chakra energy and its qualities?
It's more about, like worldly pleasures, I would say.
Worldly pleasures, yeah.
Yeah, and the top chakras are mostly spiritual, and bottom half of the chakras are mostly worldly pleasures, relationships, and all. I don't know particularly about the base chakra. It's called Mooladhara chakra, I know.
Yeah.
And what I have read and known that it is mostly about the worldly pleasure.
Okay.
Like money, like relationships, mostly money and wealth, and just how lavishly you live, and mostly that.
Okay, so money and worldly pleasures. Yeah? Yeah?
I heard about what people told me. When your base plaza is open, it's quite open, you'll be very rich, powerful. And I heard somebody told me that Jack Ma, the guy with Alibaba, his base plaza is open. I don't know.
Well, it makes sense.
Yeah, it relates. Yeah.
It relates. It is. It's definitely related about money because it's related about how you feel supported. How you feel supported in life and what it is that gives you that vital energy to do more. So it's all about foundations. Originally, does anyone else have anything else they'd like to add to that, to the base chakra? No? Sense of safety? Yeah, absolutely. Big time. Which is what, again, related to money. If we're not feeling like we've got any money, it's like, how am I going to pay my rent, my mortgage? How am I going to feed myself? All these sorts of fears can start coming up. So the base chakra is the most earthy chakra energy of the chakra system. And it's related, I always think back to hunter-gatherer time. So it's very tribal, it's like, it is that fight or flight kind of mechanism because those, back in those times they had to go out and hunt for their food. So they've always had their instincts on alert to know what was around them, were they in danger, what was sort of going on. The hunter-gatherers also lived in tribes, and we still live in tribes to some degree today, but back then it was very community-based. And so the base chakra is a very community-based type of chakra energy to it. So it's how you relate to your family, how you relate to your community, and if you don't relate to them, finding the right families and the right communities to be a part of as well. So it doesn't mean that you necessarily have to be a part of it, but it's just finding the people that are going to support you. I've made a little list here as well. The colour of it is red, so you can do things like wear red, you can eat red foods. If you're feeling like your base chakra is out, red is definitely the colour for that. I've said most of the things.
If you have anxiety issues, like generalized anxiety disorders, you've got to heal your base chakra?
Yes, yes. So your base chakra is all about fear, overwhelm and anxiety and fear. Yeah, fear, I already said that. When you feel those, that's when your base chakra it's being activated in the wrong way, basically. It's being activated in that fight or flight. And the opposite of that is feeling energized, motivated, and vital. So you know when you feel energized and you're excited, but you're feeling that sense of calm, that's when the base chakra is activated at the right type of energy. If it's coming from that place of fight or flight and adrenal type energy, then it's not in the right place. And that's basically what's happening in the world today. At the start, when I was talking about stress and anxiety, a lot of us are operating from this fight or flight energy, rather than from this more calm, collected, energized and motivated and excited, but from a more rounded type of energy. Yeah?
When you say activated correctly, can I use the concept of Chinese yin and yang? The yin and yang, positive and negative, because it's either you're too positive or you're too negative. So the balance is in the center.
Yes.
So normally when we find we are all balanced, we have to center it. How do we use this system?
Yes. I will be talking about that later as we go through. There's a lot to it, and this is basically what I'm doing now is bringing to your awareness what the base chakra is about. And to do, basically what you want to do with the chakra system is learn that about each of those chakra energies, because it covers the whole spectrum. It covers the whole spectrum of emotions. It covers the whole spectrum of, you know, your body, and all different areas of your life too. So each one, it's important to learn all these sort of awareness skills, so then you know when it's off balance as well. Yeah.
When you talk about base chakra, I think it relates to Maslow hierarchy needs, the basic needs, the safety.
Yes, basic needs, safety, so looking after yourself basically. And it's looking after yourself and your community, but then looking after yourself. Yeah, there's two shades to it as well. Anybody else have any other questions about the base chakra or anything to add to that? No? So when we're looking at the chin, we're looking at how it fits into all of this, basically, through the shape of your chin. So, there's different shapes. We can have a more square type chin, or we can have more of a rounded type chin. What I would like you to do right now is we're going to have a look and see how rounded or how square your chin is. So, what I want you to do first is put your hands under your chin like this. So pretend that the hands underneath your chin is a table, and then your chin is balancing on that tabletop. You're then going to know how far you're going to swing, right? Based on if your chin is a square or if it's rounded. So now what I want you to do is I want you to look to the person next to you and share with each other if you've got more of a square chin or more of a rounded chin. Yeah, you're going to be able to. And you also got so you've got.
伤了你，我嘞，你是灰了，你是。你有点像，有点是，他也是，什么？他有点像，人看，就是咯，人看。哦，看这里，看这里，哎，看这里，看这里像，你看他看这里像，啊，他是看你近，所以我这里是。你的啊是 round 了4号了，哎你的3号了，哎你4号，你3号 you 3 you 4
How's everybody going?
Cannot identify.
Okay, so yeah, what's the meaning of all this? I know. Is everybody clear if they're more square or if they're more pointy?
So I do
Which one's best? I love that question.
哎呀，你2号了。
Yeah.
我几号？你1号，你1号啊？1号
Okay, so
，1
now
号或
let's
4号？
work out, let's
应该
learn
是4
about
号
what
，4
it
号，
means. I was just asked the question, which one is best? And that question's awesome because there is no such thing.
没有4号，他4号。
When it comes to face reading, there's no right or wrong. There's no, it's better than or less than. What it is it is. Yeah. And it's just learning that that's part of who you are and to work with it, basically. Yeah. Okay, so if we have a pointed chin, it means that we have a higher level of sensitivity. So it means if you're got your chin on the table, it means you're going to sway when the world events come at you. So when something comes at someone with a more sensitive chin, they're going to probably respond to that in a more sensitive kind of way. They may need a little bit more support network around them, more of a community or a team around them. Whereas someone who's got a very square chin, like I always think of construction workers and those sorts of guys, where they're really like you know, they're very square. So when something comes at them, when something happens, they're very practical. They kind of just like, well, it just is what it is. Like, let's get on with it, you know. And then the sensitive person's like, oh, but like this thing happened. It's like, no, we just got to get on with it. So it's like learning what your tendencies tend to be. Again, one's not right or wrong, because the person that's very practical may need to become a little bit more sensitive and become a little bit more in tune with their emotions. And the person that's very emotional may need to learn how to manage those emotions a bit more and know how to take action when those things happen too. So from learning this about yourself, you can really understand, do I need support in a particular area? When's the times when, you know, I feel like I am too emotional, or when I need to be a little bit more emotional, and just making sure that you're getting that balance right for yourself, you know, when things happen in the world. Did anyone see anything strange, weird, crazy they want to ask about chins through that process?
But I heard about the Chinese face reading.
Yeah.
Your face is more square, you tend to be more wealthy.
Well,
I'm not sure.
Psychosomatics is different to Chinese face reading. I know that much.
Compared to those who are sharp.
Oh.
The ladies like to have a very sharp face. But that doesn't mean that they are.
No. In my book, yeah, Chinese face reading is different because they use a lot of different points. I'm not familiar with that at all. But I think everybody has the opportunity to be wealthy. It's about learning your personality and making it work for you. That's what my true belief is. You know? Yeah.
So, well, I think that the jawline, basically chin is defined by the jawline.
Yeah.
Jawline, cheekbones, forehead, nose, these features are genetic. Like, you know, the nose of someone who comes from Greece or from that race, basically Aryans, Indo-European people, will have always a nose like me, like, you know, coming out from here.
Yeah, yeah.
And someone who is Asian, like maybe Chinese or Japanese, or, you know, they will always have a flatter side of the nose, which is, I mean, and they will have small eyes, and, you know, so, I mean, it's not possible that the whole nation can be, you know, just, you know, categorized in one category.
It isn't. Did you?
Yeah. I was going to say, I think you can still apply perhaps a cultural, hereditary differences. So everyone from the same race are not going to look exactly the same.
No,
so you're going to have a bit more prominent nose compared to a different culture or background. But I think you can still apply some of those. So for that culture, you have a more prominent nose or less like.
Yes. Yeah. So for the people in the back of the room, we were just talking about how, you know, in different cultures have different sort of tendencies for those facial features. So I've had it, I get asked this question a lot all the time, particularly around this nose that you're talking about, this bridge of the nose here. So when someone's got a high bridge of the nose, it means that as the energy of the world's coming at them, they can kind of filter that a little bit and take action through that. So they still feel it around their heart area, but they've got some time to sort of make their decision on how to act on it. Those people who have a very low bridge here, it means they're very sensitive, so they feel that energy straight away. It doesn't mean that they can't take action, but they're more of a sensitive being. And I've thought about this a lot. I mean, I live in Bali as well, and, you know, most of the people have a very low bridge of the nose here too. You know, Chinese people have a very low bridge of the nose too. Very sensitive people. But it depends on the culture of how that's built. Like, I've seen lots of sensitive people and they're living in a culture that's very structured, so they're not allowed to express themselves, so that sensitivity becomes numbed and they're not actually allowed to feel it to some degree. And so that's when we need to look at the culture of, like, what environment are they living in that is allowing them to be who they are. In Bali, for example, they're very, I'm in Ubud, and they have ceremonies like every third, second day. It's a big part of their culture, and I feel like that's embracing that side of themselves. So Again, there's no right or wrong around it, but there's definitely tendencies, yes. With the nose, like the Roman nose, that's a very leadership type nose as well, so when it does have that bump there. And you don't see that a lot in some cultures, but it doesn't mean that they can't be a leader, but maybe it will be a different journey compared to someone that does have it. Yeah. Any other questions about chin? Any other area of the face, really, before we move on? Cool, okay. So, another thing to notice here too of this slide, so this chin is moving forward, so it's come forward, and then sometimes you can see a chin that's actually receding. The chins that are moving forward, they've got a good drive. Like as soon as they know what they want to do, they're the action takers. It's like, I'm just going to take action. If it's receding, those people it's harder for them to take action. So they're going to need probably more of a support team to say, okay, come on, let's go and do this. Or you might want those people to actually do something for them instead of them taking action themselves. Does that make sense? So learning these things about yourself can be really important, particularly when you're in business, because if your chin, say, is receding, you might have the vision and you want things done, but you're not physically able to do it. You're going to have to want people on your team who can help you to make those things happen, basically. Your zone of genius. So the next thing we're going to talk about when it comes to your face is your zone of genius. And this usually, for me, is your most prominent feature. So when I do a face reading for someone, I can read all sorts of things throughout their face. But there's always one or two things that are really striking about that person's face. So something that captures your attention, the first thing that you look at. So again, what I want you to do is I want you to look to the person next to you and have a look at their face. And what's the most, what's the feature that stands out the most for you when you look at it? I would say this. Yeah, I would say Okay, so you've all been looking at each other's faces there. So depending on what feature of the face stood out the most, can be an indicator of what to really look at within your personality traits in relation to your business. So, you know, if you're, some people might have that chin that's really coming forward like Superman, like you've got one there, right? So it's like there's a drive, that could be the thing that's, I did a face reading for someone the other day and literally it's like coming forward, it's like, okay, like just hold on. So it was like that was a big part of who she was, and she's a go-getter. If your lips and your mouth are the most prominent feature on your face, it's like your creativity, your sensuality, your communication. So if you're in business for yourself, it could be communicating will be a big part of your business. I've got a really large mouth, I love talking. It's a big part of my business, I want to talk in my business. So it's utilising your strengths in that area. If your nose is most prominent, that's leadership. So, personal identity, how you step forward in the world, really embracing that part of yourself. It doesn't mean don't embrace any other parts of yourself, but this is about like what's that number one thing that's sort of prominent on your face. If your eyes are most prominent, it's your heart chakra. So living with compassion, living through compassion and being the compassion that you see. Maybe that's part of like what your personal essence is and what you're here to do. Eyebrows, your throat chakra, again all about communicating, if that's like, the most prominent part of your face. Really interesting, at the moment there's this fad for women to have really big strong eyebrows. Isn't it interesting that a lot of women are really starting to voice their opinions about things? Whereas, say, 20 years ago, it was all about having very thin line eyebrows. You know, how your features on your face change how you're expressing yourself and how you're communicating.
I think last time olden days, our mother they cut their eyebrows.
They cut it off? Oh, trim the eyebrows. So this is to just give you a bit of a taster into what face reading is all about and how much you can learn about yourself from a face reading, and then learn how to bring those aspects of yourself and really focus on it for your business. Instead of sitting behind your computer and just trying to get it done online, like, are you really utilising who you are to get your business going as well? We can forget about that. We look more to the strategies and the structure rather than the person who we are and who we need to step out to be. So I think it is now time for another 2 minutes with Lisa.
Whenever I come to Singapore, I end up freezing.
Freezing. Chakra.
I just need to do some exercise.
Freezing. Purposely what? Chakra.
Before I get into the next exercise, Melanie did a face reading on me not even a few years ago, maybe about a year ago, and it was so funny because it was so true, but I never thought of it this way. One part of my face kind of wanted to conquer the world and, you know, go out and achieve so much, and another part of my face just wanted to go and live in a tree and just hide away from the world. So I have this constant battle between, yes, here I am, and then, oh, no, just let me be in a tree somewhere. So it's quite interesting what it actually reveals. Anyway, one thing we've been focusing on now is the base chakra. So I thought what we could do to just align with that in this next little meditation exercise that we'll do is to focus in on the base chakra. So when you're ready, have your backs nice and straight. It's kind of what you're wanting to achieve in a meditation with your back is not rigid, but you want it kind of dignified. So that's the feeling. We want a nice straight back that's dignified. If we're slouching, we tend to fall asleep. So just close your eyes and go back into that deep breathing, taking that breath way down into the belly and really feeling that tummy expand. If we're just breathing into the chest, we're doing shallow breathing, which isn't great for our stress levels and our adrenals. So way down into the belly. And then I'm going to ask you to visualise your base chakra, which is around your perineum area. And imagine a round disc or the size of an orange. Just start seeing that fill up with red light. So you're drawing in red light as you're breathing slowly and deeply. Just feel it filling up and it's moving. It's just rotating slightly, just gently. And continue just to draw that red light into that base chakra. Continue the deep breathing. And as it fills and energizes, see if you can feel that red light or visualize that red light moving throughout your whole body. And then you might want to visualize a tree root or a silver thread or something that comes to mind for you, gold thread even, coming out of that base chakra, of that beautiful red energy, going right down into the center of the earth. So it's really connecting you to that grounding, supportive, safe energy. And then you're going to draw up that beautiful energy from the earth. You're going to draw that up into the base chakra. Continue to breathe slowly and deeply. Again, once it's in that beautiful base chakra, filling up with that red light, see if you can take that right through the body as well. To your legs, your feet, your knees, hips and torso, arms, neck and head. Beautiful, energized, grounding energy. Anytime you feel that you need to, if you're feeling unsupported or stressed or anxious, you can always do this exercise. On your inhalation, again, take that right down into that base chakra. So you're constantly energizing with that beautiful red light. Slowly and gently open your eyes.
Okay. Now, let's energize that base chakra a little bit for the last little piece of this presentation tonight. So I just want you to, you don't have to get up, you can get up if you want, but I just want you to walk your feet on the ground, because what that's doing is working your legs, and your legs are actually related to your base chakra. So feel your feet on the ground, feel that movement. So we've talked about the base, we've talked about the base chakra, now we're going to talk about how this relates to your business. So we're going to, in this little section, this last section, we're going to talk about the emotional intelligence around your business base chakra. We're going to talk about the physical signs that can show up, the business red flags that can show up, and then we're going to do a little activity of how you can start activating that base chakra in your business. So then it's feeling vital, energized, and motivated, and moving in the right direction. Yeah, I've been doing this for about 6 years now. I finished my first training as a psychosomatic therapist 6 years ago. I've been an entrepreneur for the past 4, and in terms of in the online space. And the 3 things that I consistently hear are people feeling lack of confidence, they have procrastination issues, and usually it's connected to fear of being seen, and also cash flow issues in their business as well. So we're going to be talking about this a bit in this last section here. So when we talk about flow and blocked, because we hear that a lot as well. Sorry, hold on a second. My throat shut, is that we hear a lot of the time people saying, are we in flow or are things being blocked? When we're in flow, when it comes to the chakra system, it means that your chakra energies are in alignment in terms of they're all sitting on top of one another, they're all activated at the right vibration, and they're all working together. When we say it's blocked, it means that, generally speaking, your base chakra is going to be shaky. And what that means is if your base chakra is shaky, everything above that is going to be shaky as well. So sometimes when you may feel like your throat chakra is out of whack because you can't speak your truth, you may actually need to go down to your base chakra first to really stabilize that, to allow you to then do the work for the chakras above that. So the base chakra is always the first place that I come to when it comes to moving through hurdles and those sorts of things. In your business, the emotions that will come up when your base chakra is feeling shaky are fear, anxiety and overwhelm. So as soon as you start feeling any fear or any anxiety or any overwhelm, it's time to look at the base chakra of your business. Now, sometimes we don't even realise that's where we're operating from. So this is where the emotional intelligence comes into play, and it's really tuning into what's the emotion am I feeling right now and how am I sort of acting in the world. A lot of us are running on this flight or fight and fear-based energy a lot of the time, and that's where we're making our decisions from. And in my experience over the last many number of years, whenever I make a decision based on fear, it comes back to bite me tenfold. Like, it never works out. And so if you can start really tuning into that, am I making this decision from a place of fear rather than a place of calm and stability within myself and knowing that's the right thing, there's a huge difference in the energy of that and what will be a replication from that point. What you want to be feeling is energized, vital and motivated. So you want to know what's happening. The base chakra loves organization. It's like the only chakra, I will say that, of all the chakra energies where it loves administration and organization. Actually, I'll get back to that in a minute. I'll skip forward. But it does. It really likes to know, it likes planning. It likes to know what's going to happen. We can't predict what's going to happen in the future all the time. In fact, nothing is for certain. But the more that you can feel certain that, you know, you've got the right number of clients coming in, or you've got the right income to pay your staff and all those sorts of things happening, the more vital your base chakra is going to be feeling. If we're hanging out in fear down here, or anger, or any of those sort of overwhelm, anxiety feelings, we're going to actually be playing in a space of suffering and getting by. When we're in a state of flow, this is where we're feeling that love, we're feeling that joy, we're feeling excited, we're really connected to what it is that we're doing. So I always found this graph to be really helpful when I started doing this work, and it does come from David Hawkins, who's written the book Power versus Force. I highly recommend reading that, where he talks about, you know, the different vibrations that our emotions have and the state of being that actually keeps us in. So, you know, if we're feeling fear, we're going to be suffering, basically. And, you know, we don't want to be suffering. We want to be feeling like we're in this state of flow. So emotional intelligence for me through the chakra system is understanding all those specific emotions that you're feeling, and then knowing where it is on this chart to help you know how to shift it to the polar opposite emotion. So for the base chakra, it's about, did you actually know this too, that the body physiologically doesn't know the difference between fear and excitement. So you can be feeling fear and the body will feel a particular way, and you can be feeling excitement and the body will feel that exact same thing. So from a mental point of view, and I've done this a few times now that I've learned this, if you're feeling fear, shift it to excitement. It might be fear of, oh, I don't know what's going to happen right now. But it could be like, I don't know what's going to happen right now. What's that new opportunity that could happen if I have that conversation that I think is difficult, but something might actually good come from that. So swapping your perception of fear to excitement can be a really good tool, especially as an entrepreneur and in business. Because you're going to have to be stepping out of your comfort zone quite often, you know, to make a difference and to make progress. Okay, so the physical signs. The body, the mind, the emotions are all related. Physical signs of the base chakra, lower back pain, grinding your teeth, anything happening around your jaw, your legs, your calves, your feet, and anything happening around your kidneys and adrenals. As soon as I already know I am cold, but I'm like, you know, I can feel like, actually I think it is more because it's cold, but you know, if I know I'm sleeping and I've started grinding my teeth in my sleep because I'm worrying about something, it's like my base chakra is out. As soon as I get lower back pain, it's always about money and it's never about my back. Because as soon as the money problem disappears, guess what? The back problem disappears. So just start watching this for yourself. Like, pay attention to your body. It's bringing your attention to something. Once you start shifting the emotional aspect, plus making the decisions that are going to help with that, and then see what plays out physically from that space as well. Each chakra energy has a different place in the body. So the base chakra, though, is around your legs, because your legs take you from A to B. It's the thing that actually gets you moving. It's also your feet and your jaw area up here. The red flags in your business, that means your base chakra is out. Cash flow, ideal customer, and goals and planning. So if you're feeling fear, anxiety, or overwhelm, or your back's hurting, or something's going on with your knees, or you're grinding your teeth, have a look at how you're feeling about your cash flow, how you're feeling about who you actually know your ideal customer is, and do you have a good set of goals and plans? Because usually there's something going on in here that's causing that symptom or effect to happen, you know. So then you know where to come and take the action instead of just feeling overwhelmed and going, I don't know where to start. This is where you actually start. There is another little section too. If you become more of a company, your team will also fall under this as well. So have you got the right team supporting you for what it is that you need to do next in your business as well? I've tried and tested this so many times and it works. It just works. And it may be even you might have it all sorted, but you just needed to revisit it to feel that sense of stability within yourself to know this is the next step that I need to take. You've just forgotten some of the detail that you already had worked out. Yeah, so once you do that, then you'll be getting more of a flow state rather than a block state. This little diagram here, a lot of the time I find in business, people jump to promotion and communication before they've actually looked at the first three chakras of their business, being the base chakra, which is all about your foundations and support, your sacral chakra, which is around branding and creativity, and your solar plexus, which is your product and your service. So for me, for you to really be in a good state to start promoting and communicating about your business, you need to have strong foundations, a clear brand, and also very clear products and service. At the beginning, that can be difficult, and that's what makes it difficult as a startup, because you're testing and trialing and you're trying to work it out, and it's all very messy. But as you keep doing the process and coming back to it and revisiting it, it gets stronger and stronger, and then that's where it really starts to grow. Right, so now that you know this, this is my Wonder Woman and Superman, because I really think the base chakra is where it all is at, you know, particularly in business. Like, you can't come in at any other level. Like, your base chakra needs to be solid for the rest of it to really flow. So I'm going to just take you through a very quick, because I know we're getting close to, what are we on? We're 9 o'clock now. I'm just going to take you through a very quick activity that you can do to see if you're in the fight or flight mode, or if you're working from a really good, energized and vital chakra energy, base chakra energy. Have you guys read this book? Yes. Okay, great. I love it. Read it time and time again to learn from it. So we're going to focus on goals and planning for this little activity. In the book, it talks about this quadrant of putting in your to-do list and where you're taking your action from, so how to prioritize what it is that you have to do. And a lot of the time, what you'll have will either go into important and urgent, or important or not urgent, and if anything's in these bottom two quadrants, you generally don't really worry about it. What I want you to do now is I want you to think about what you've got going on at the moment in your business, and what feels important and urgent, and what feels important and not urgent. And if you've got a pen and paper, just write that down, but if you don't, like just think in your head, is there one of these quadrants that's more than the other?
I've got a lot of things which are important but not urgent. There is nothing which is important and urgent. No, there is nothing. There is nothing not important and urgent. Basically, there is nothing urgent as such. Things are just important.
Yeah. That's great. You'll see when I turn next. Because that's not always true for everybody. I know I've definitely played in this important and urgent quadrant before in my life as well. Yeah. So just thinking about what in your business right now feels important and urgent or important and not urgent. I'll just give you another 2 minutes. Or not 2 minutes. Okay. So, if you have your items in important and not urgent, it means that you have a really nice base chakra energy to your business. It means you're planning ahead. It means you're forward thinking. It means you're planting seeds, knowing that there's patience and time that needs to take place for everything to grow. If you've got more things in the important and urgent quadrant, it means you're operating from a fight or flight energy. It means that you're in this like, urgency, urgency, I've got to get things going. It means that you may be making decisions in your business that aren't going to serve you in the long run, that are made from fear, that will come back and bite you in the bum, basically. It's coming from the wrong place. And so as soon as you can become aware of which one it's swinging to, you can pay attention to the things that possibly are more important but not feeling urgent, because you know in the long term that's going to pay off rather than the short term. A lot of startups can find that they fall into that short-term fix initially, and of course we need some short-term things that need to happen, but making sure that you're paying as much attention to the long-term foundations that you need to lay as well is really, really important. And when you get to the point where it is just important and not urgent, that's really where you want to be. Yeah. So this is a really good practical example of how you can just see what energy you're coming from in your business, because it is really important that it is a nice, calm, solid, firm foundation energy rather than the flighty, all over the place kind of scattered energy. Any questions around this? I see a lot of nodding heads, which is good. It's very good. Lisa, I might just leave this. Can I do the next bit and maybe we can finish off with yours?
Yeah, I'll just send it.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah.
Alright, I'm just going to condense this down. But Melanie's already talked about a couple of things we can do for our base chakra in terms of energising it. We looked at the meditation side of things as well, but there were the red foods and a few other things. But I was at a silent meditation and yoga retreat for the last 4 days just before I came to Singapore. And one of the instructors showed us a great yoga pose. Do any of you do yoga? That is brilliant, yeah, that's brilliant for energising your base chakra. So I thought I'd just quickly share that right now. We're going to do a lot of stuff on the weekend where we go into all of this in a lot more detail. But I just thought, if you can see me, because I have to get down on the floor. But I'm just going to show you quickly.
Only after a few days.
No, I'm going to do this. You can stand up here next to me. It's very simple. Very simple. But I'm going to get down. So you know where your base chakra is, yeah? Right here. This. Just that, for as long as you can hold it. While you're doing it, you know, only if you can. You don't have to. So it's up to your level. So even if you can't touch your toes, you can get a rope or something to hold on to, even if you're sitting up here. So it's actually not how far you can get down. Yeah, great. That's fine.
depends upon your flexibility.
Yeah. So that's fine. It's just about holding it as long as you can. And when you're doing that, you're putting the energy to that. You're thinking about your base chakra. So really focusing on the base chakra while you're doing that. And that really helps with that. So that's just a share that as well. But yeah.
I'd like to add something to it. Stretch from your lower back. Don't stretch from your shoulders and neck. From your wrists.
Yeah, so you almost want to come into this nice posture first and then move forward. And as you're doing this, kind of stretching that back, like you said, with the lower back.
Yeah, because mostly people do this, they stretch their neck and they stretch their, upper body.
Yeah.
But it's basically about being like this. Your lower back should go forward.
Absolutely, yeah. But that really helps strengthen that base chakra as well. It's a really good one for the base chakra. I'll just share that.
Awesome. Go back to the last slide.
The last slide, yeah. Alright, so now we're into the finale. I had a special face split image that I want to share with you, and this is really important actually, which is also can be a red flag about how your energy is flowing and whether you're operating from the urban brain, which is the shutdown, non-emotional state of being, or you're running from your human brain, which is the in-touch and emotional intelligent self. Okay, so this is a face split photo, and we'll be doing these on the weekend as well. This is me back in 2012 when I did my first psychosomatic therapy training. The middle photo is the original, and what we do is we actually split the photo down the middle, and then we take the right hand side and flip it to make a whole right face, and then take the left to make a whole left face. And what this is, the whole right hand side of your body is your masculine energy, and the whole left hand side of your body is your feminine energy, which is a bit like yin and yang, what we were talking about before. And this was the thing that woke me up to what was going on in my life, and how much I had lost touch with who I was and what I was here to do. So, for those of you that aren't familiar, we all have feminine and masculine energy inside of us. The masculine traits are logic, taking action, structure, and giving. We need those. We have to. The feminine aspects of ourselves is creativity, emotions, flexibility, and receiving. We need those as well, but a lot of the time there's an imbalance that's actually happening there. And the face split actually shows you what that balance is and how balanced it is or how imbalanced it is. So I've cut out my original photo, and this is my feminine and my masculine. So I want you to share with me. I always look at the feminine and masculine energy inside of ourselves as a relationship. So I want you to do that right now, and I want you to share with me, what do you feel like the relationship dynamic is between these two people if they were to walk into a room? Are they happy? Feminine doesn't seem happy?
Yeah, feminine doesn't seem very happy. And you look much younger now.
Yeah. Thank you. I've been doing the work. Yeah, so for me, this was huge. I actually look like, my feminine side looks like my grandma. When I saw this, I was like, whoa, that really looks like my grandma. And then my masculine energy looks like this young boy, And so when I look at the relationship dynamic between them, I'm like, how does that even work? Like, they're not talking to one another. It's like they're separate people. They're like they're living separate lives. The masculine face is just like, yep, let's go get him, let's go do this, and it's like dragging the feminine energy along, and the feminine's just like, I'm shut down, I'm not enjoying myself, this is not good, So when I saw this, I realised I needed to make some changes in my life. Like I needed to look at, what was really lighting me up. How was I really feeling? I was, getting more in touch with my body and listening to my body as well. And that's what I've been working on for the last 6 years. So I did a face reading workshop earlier this year in Bali. And I took another face split 6 years later. Yeah. So this is me. So this was 2012 and this is now 2019. And you can see the difference, because what you really want to get is a similar face along all three, because then there's a good balance going on. The masculine's coming out to play, the feminine's coming out to play, and they're working together. If you look at the feminine energy in particular, how much that has changed over that period of time, she's not really looking like an old grandma anymore, is she? She's taken notice and made changes to do that. So, I'm a very driven person. I'm an entrepreneur. I love to get things done, but I've really had to do the work to stay in tune with who I am and bring my creativity out to play, learn what my zone of genius is, and really learn to work with that. And that's how everything is now transpiring. And yes, I put in the energy, I put in the hard work, but I'm enjoying every piece of that. And that's really where the abundance comes into play, So if you are feeling like you're on path, you're on purpose, but you're still hitting your head up against a brick wall, or that you're not on purpose, but you don't know what else to do, doing this work, doing the psychosomatic work and learning about yourself can help you to realign and to ask some good questions and to see what direction you should be heading into. Because ultimately how you feel on the inside is going to be reflected by the outside, and then that's going to have a ripple effect out into the world. Yeah? So, that was the finale piece that I wanted to share with you. It really was like the wake-up moment I needed when I saw
Do
it.
you have an app where we can, do this to our faces?
I don't have an app. There is apps online that you can use to do that. If you do it, make sure that you just take a very straight face, because otherwise you get some pretty weird face things going on. On Saturday, I'll be running a face reading workshop where we'll take the photo and we'll actually be splitting it so you can see it, and then we'll be doing the analysis part of that too. So yeah, and I also do it when I do the private face readings. We don't take the photo, but I can get a good idea of what that's playing out.
I represent the first and the only upper cervical center in all of Singapore. I started this company earlier this year because I realized there was a bit of a missing part of the market here. This is a training that I've done further in the past, going to Australia, going to America, and doing further training and outreach programs in Manila, Philippines, so that I can have extra training to do this specific type of technique. How this differs compared to other chiropractors is instead of focusing just on the whole of the spine. Really focus more specifically on what happens at the very top part of the neck, especially in the top two bones called C1. So when we start to work precisely, that's where we have changes in people's health. We can also charge more of this, and it does take a bit more time for our normal